Hey everyone, it's Kenji. I'm in my backyard and we're gonna grill some fat, juicy hamburgers. So I'm talking like big guys, like 7 or 8 ounces here. All right, so I've got some ground chuck here. You can just buy store-bought stuff. If you want to, you can like grind up your own short ribs and brisket and whatnot, but store-bought stuff works fine as long as it's about 20% fat. Even more fat is fine too. 25, 30% fat is fine. So my hands are a little bit damp, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by forming this into a patty. And you want the patty to be a little bit wider than your bun. One thing you definitely don't want to do is kind of overwork the meat, so don't like pick it up and massage it. Definitely don't like add salt to it and massage that salt in, because you'll end up with a sausage patty instead of a hamburger patty. The salt will actually make the meat kind of bind to itself and turn kind of springy and tight. I'm sure you've heard me say this before, or you might have seen me hurling meat patties at walls with my buddy Alvin Kalen at the burger show. Anyhow, we're forming a patty like this, a little wider than the bun is, so that it hangs over the edge and it sort of accounts for the shrinking. And now what happens as a burger cooks, actually I'll talk about it as it's cooking so that we have something to talk about, but you can see what I'm doing is I'm kind of flattening the center of this a little bit. The idea is that you want it to be sort of shaped like a red blood cell, so the very center of it is a little bit thinner than the edges are, and I'll explain why I'm doing that as the burger cooks. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands and then I will be right back out here to show you how we're gonna proceed. All right. Okay, and I'm back. So I got my grill preheated. Preheated on high. I'm just using these 2 sides right now. I'm gonna turn down one side to low, keep the other one on high. I always like to have 2 zones, that way I can kind of manage how things are cooking. If they look like they're browning a little too fast on the outside, I can move them over to the lower side and vice versa. I'm gonna scrape off my grill with a grill brush, which you always want to do while the grill is hot. It'll get it cleaner. All right, and then my burger patty is gonna go straight over. Oops, no, it's not gonna go straight over. Then I'm going to season up my patty. Season well. Salt, pepper. A little flip, we want to season both sides. Alright, and this is going to go directly over the hot side of the grill. So the hottest part of the grill, so that is wherever the grills, wherever you've been preheating on high and sort of towards the back of the grill. Every grill is going to be a little bit different, but generally towards the back is where the hottest section is. And in the meantime, I'm going to toast up my bun over on the cooler side of the grill. Now, so the reason why we form this kind of dimpled red blood cell shape, it's not because burgers puff up as they cook, which I've read some places. It's actually the opposite. It's because they contract as they cook, and because the edges of a burger have more area exposed to heat. They cook a little bit faster than the center does. So what happens is that the edges of a burger will actually constrict and tighten up more than the center of a burger does. So if your burger is perfectly flat to begin with, when that starts happening, what happens is it's kind of like tying a belt around the outside of the burger and squeezing it, and what happens is the center then ends up puffing out. And in really extreme cases, you end up with a burger that looks kind of like, like a golf ball, which is not what you want. I want my burger to be relatively flat by the time it hits the bun. Okay, so we're just gonna let this burger cook on the first side for a few moments. I'll be back when it's ready to flip. Or actually, you know what I can do is I'll speed this all up. So I will speed it up. Nice low, slow toast on the bun so they get really nice and crispy and well browned. So when I flip my burger, I like to do my spatula upside down so I can really make sure that I'm getting it all. I'm gonna give it a little rotation just so we get those grill marks, which honestly don't do much for flavor. They're really just a aesthetic choice, whether you want grill marks on your burger or not. All right, we're getting a nice even golden brown toast on here. Okay, that first side's almost done. We're gonna aim for a sort of medium rare-ish So a little bit pink in the center. So again, the reason why you only want to put salt on the outside is because if you can sort of think of ground meat as similar to dough, like bread dough. And you know how bread dough, the more you knead it and the more you work it, the more gluten forms, which is that sort of protein matrix that gives it toughness and structure. The same thing with a burger. A burger is made up of protein and water, very similar to bread dough. And the more you work a burger, the more you're going to build up that protein network. The difference is that salt can actually dissolve some proteins, mainly a protein called myosin, which is in connective tissue. And salt will dissolve that protein and actually cause it to cross-link more easily and more strongly. So adding salt to a burger before you sort of knead it together, or before you form it into a patty, will cause that burger to get tough and springy, which is exactly how it works in a sausage. This is why sausages have a sort of springy texture while burgers typically don't. And so that's great for sausages, but not really great for burgers. All right, meanwhile, I'm gonna get my bun dressed. I'm going pretty simple with toppings today. This is what if I really want to taste the beef, what I go with is nothing but mayo, pickles, and onions. But you know, I'm no prescriptivist, so you can do whatever feels right to you. Mayo top and bottom. This is what if I go to a brand new burger joint and I want to try out, just sort of taste the quality of the meat, I usually get onions and pickles are my jam. All right, onion sliced pole to pole, that is with your knife parallel to the line drawn between the top of the onion and the bottom of the onion. This will rupture fewer onion cells, so you end up with more sweet onion flavor and less of the really pungent stuff that comes when you rupture cells and precursor chemicals escape and form the chemicals that make onions smell bad. All right, looking good here. All right, so I'm going to close up the grill now, let it build up some heat. With a charcoal grill, generally when you leave the lid open, it actually gets hotter because the charcoal gets more oxygen, so it burns hotter. With a gas grill, there's venting already built into it that pulls air in from the outside because gas needs air to combust. So generally with a gas grill, closing it will actually make it hotter, whereas the opposite is the case with a charcoal grill. With a charcoal grill, opening it makes it hotter. Gas grill, closing it makes it hotter. So if it looks like your burger, like mine is doing, is not browning quite as fast as you want it to, or you want to build up a little bit more char on it, close the lid and that'll help. Or if you're on charcoal, open the lid and that'll help. So those flames that you see underneath, that is fat from the burger dripping down out of the rendering and dripping down out of the burger and catching fire. In a sort of Western kitchen, like if you were working in a French restaurant and grilling and cooking a steak in a saute pan, if the fat catches on fire, usually the chef will tell you to start it over because that singed fat flavor has a really distinct taste. It's part of the essential flavor of an outdoor sort of backyard grilled burger, though. That singed fat. It's the same flavor that's sort of part of the flavor of wok hei, you know, the smokiness that comes from stuff cooked in a really high temperature wok. It's singed fat. You don't want to let it get too out of control. Like if your thing is engulfed in flames, then I would recommend closing the lid to smother it, or moving it to a cooler part of the grill, because if it gets too intense, you end up with these really dark black sort of sooty deposits on your burger that can really negatively affect the flavor. Like if you've ever had a burger that just tasted like completely burnt at a barbecue, probably that's the reason why, because it caught on fire. All right, I'm going in with couple slices of American cheese just for the last couple minutes. If you really want to make sure that your burger is perfect temperature, use a thermometer. Aim for around 110. It'll carry over to 125 or so in the center, and that'll be sort of medium rare. You can go rare or more well done if you'd like. Well done is like take it up to like 150, let it carry over to 165, 160 or so. 2 slices of American cheese. You can use whatever cheese you like. I typically go for American on a burger because it melts like nothing else. And American cheese it's cheese in the same way that like sausage is meat, which means that cheese is the main ingredient. Then there are other things added to it that change its melting properties and change the way it behaves. But you know, so similar to like a sausage is meat with various things added to it to change its flavor and change its texture. Anyone who says American cheese is fake cheese just doesn't really know what they're talking about. American cheese is mainly made from cheese. Cheddar cheese with extra milk, extra fat, and an emulsifier is added to it. That's all it is. All right, I think we're looking good here. I think we're ready to pull it off. What do you think? I think so. It's been about, I don't know, 6 minutes total, but that's really going to depend on your specific grill setup, your specific meat. Like the more fat's in it, the slower it's going to cook, etc. Let's give it a little squeeze for the camera. So let's go for it. That is a tasty burger. All right, guys, gals, non-binary pals, that's how I grill a burger. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, it's Kenji. There are 22 million kids in this country that rely on school lunches for nutritious meals. And with schools closed now more than ever, organizations like No Kid Hungry can use their support. So I'm asking you to join me. Click the link in the description below to donate some money. No amount is too small or too big. Thank you very much and stay safe. Bye-bye.